According to the seller, this Voodoo card was supposed to be in working condition. Clearly the seller had a different opinion on what that actually means. Loose pins are difficult to spot if all you have is an image of an ad posted on a classifieds website. It may actually be impossible unless they are accompanied by bent legs that clearly no longer connect to their respective pads. So why did I even bother to get another Voodoo card? All my other models have 50 nanosecond memory chips, rated for 50 MHz, which is the standard frequency of most Voodoo cards. I wanted to test whether the faster memory would allow this card to be overclocked beyond the limits of a standard 50 MHz model. And the answer to this question was already part of a video I made some time ago. At that time, the card of today's video was already repaired. It had to compete against a modified Voodoo card in the game Unreal. The 8MB card, a Maxi Gamer 3D, has the common 50 MHz modules and could reach a stable overclock of 56 MHz before I could see issues appear on the screen. Another card in my collection, this time a Diamond Monster 3D, which I repaired a few months ago, is also equipped with 50 MHz memory and behaves exactly like the Maxi Gamer 3D. Once we go over 56 MHz, the card starts to produce artifacts. The Voodoo with faster memory featured in today's video, however, could overclock to 60 MHz. Of course, this sample size is too small to come to a well-founded conclusion, but it does look like the memory is preventing at least some Voodoo cards from reaching higher overclocks. If you're interested to see a comparison of all the Voodoo cards I have and their respective maximum frequency, let me know in the comments and I will try to make time for such a project. Maybe we will even replace the memory modules on one of those cards. Before we get now into the repair of today's Voodoo card, a quick word from my sponsor. PCBWay offers a wide variety of services including PCB manufacturing, 3D printing and CNC machining. I have used their PCB services for multiple projects, but you will see more on my channel very soon, including a different Voodoo memory upgrade mod and my attempt to replace the furnace that is the linear voltage regulator of Voodoo 3s for the PCI interface. PCBWay currently organizes their 6th project design contest where electronic and mechanical designs are welcomed this year. If you have the skills, it is well worth participating with amazing prizes to be won. Submissions are open until mid of January 2024. Good luck with your submission and have a look at PCBWay.com to turn your projects into reality. So let's have a look at this card and check the connections of both 3DFX chips. Disconnected legs are quite common on those cards. At least I had my fair share of cards suffering from this issue. I am not sure why this is happening, but it could be a combination of multiple things. Storing the card with other components which put pressure on the 3DFX chips could be one reason. It could also be that over time, the solder joints weaken. A little twist on the PCB could then break the connection to the pads. Luckily, it is not very difficult to reattach those legs to the pads on the PCB. Straightening bent legs, however, requires a bit more patience. On this Voodoo card, there is only one leg that is bent, which has also disconnected from the pad. A pair of fine tweezers is the best tool I have found so far that works really well on those 3DFX chips. I wonder, however, if I will be able to fix the following challenge coming my way. This Diamond Monster 3D seems to have been rescued from a recycling center. And as you may be able to see in this picture, the legs on this chip don't look so good. I can't wait to get this card. But let's get back to our current project, where we just have to resolder a few legs to their respective pads. Actually, there are many loose connections, so I decided to rework all of them. At least I will also fix already weak solder joints in the process. That are 208 connections on the TMU chip and 240 connections on the FBI chip. Without Flux, this would be a very difficult task, even under the microscope. A good amount around the chip is necessary to make this work a lot easier. It will also make the solder joints look like they came fresh out of the factory. If you are wondering what type of flux I'm using, it is Amtech NC559. Louis Rossmann recommended this some time ago in his videos. This stuff works great and I have no complaints about it. I am also going to test a new soldering tip today. This tip was part of the FNIRSI HS01 soldering iron I made a review for a few months back. Links to the Amtech Flux and the soldering iron are in the video description if you're interested. Usually I'm quite happy using chisel soldering tips. However, I did see others using bevel tips for drag soldering, which I want to try on the 3DFX chips today. The bevel tip can hold more solder and should be capable to transfer more heat compared to the chisel type, so it sounds like the perfect tool for this work. But as you can see, I need a lot more practice. Somehow I just create a lot of solder bridges. If you have some tips how I can improve, please let me know in the comments, but I have a feeling it's just practice. It looks like there's quite a bit of solder on those tiny legs on the 3DFX chips. There is no need for me to apply fresh solder. And after one side was complete, I had enough and changed the technique. Instead of dragging the soldering iron across, I just touched 2 to 3 legs at a time. This worked much better for me, and I could finalize the remaining 7 sides. After cleaning the card properly, I ended up with a very nice Voodoo card. As I said before, this card overclocks to 60 MHz. It may sound ridiculous by today's standards to overclock a Voodoo card by just 10 MHz. However, bear in mind that this is a 20% increase in frequency. As far as I'm aware, those cards were already pushed pretty much to their limits. And without heatsinks, those cards can get very toasty. I wouldn't even use this card at its stock frequency without a fan blowing over the PCB, just to make sure those cards will still have many more years to tell stories about how they once revolutionized the PC gaming industry. And this is all I have for you today. This was a shorter video, but there wasn't much wrong with this card. If you have a Voodoo card that doesn't work, check those legs. It could be as easy as that. And if you enjoyed today's content, you know what to do. Please subscribe, like the video, and maybe even write a comment. All this will help the channel grow. A big thank you to all my Patreons who support this channel even further. Your contributions help me purchase a few, let's call them interesting projects. I have already shown you the Diamond Monster 3D in this video, but there is also a Voodoo 3 2000 AGP, which, according to the person selling the card, has a damaged 3DFX chip. It seems that someone tried to get the heatsink off and was not careful, jamming a screwdriver between it and the 3DFX chip. Well, the heatsink is still stuck on the card, but the chip has been damaged. We will have a look at it next month when the card will finally be with me. And now we have really reached the end of this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in one of my other videos.